Today we're going to talk about how to write an effective objective summary. We've talked about this a little bit before, but today we're really going to dive deep into it. So imagine that you went to see a movie with friends, or maybe you saw a Facebook post, or maybe you even saw a YouTube video, and you really want to tell your friends about this and what it was about. So when your friends ask you, hey, what was that movie about? Or hey, I haven't seen that. What was that video about? Stop. Do not go on and blah, blah, blah and talk about every single little detail that happened in the movie. You have to think about your audience first. So essentially you know that your friends or your audience is probably going to want to read that article, or maybe they're going to want to see that movie. So you don't want to put in all the little details because that would ruin it and that would spoil it for them. So when they ask you to tell them about the movie or the video or the article that you saw or you read, you will be summarizing. So a summary is a short description of the main ideas of a text. Remember, we've already talked about main idea before, and so we're just going to kind of review what that means today. And it only includes the necessary information. You don't need a bunch of unnecessary information in your summary because, like I said, it's a short description of the text. A summary is not personal information, background knowledge, or opinions. I don't want to know how this relates to your life. I don't want to know a bunch of extra information about the topic, and I don't want to know your opinion when I'm asking for a summary. So, I repeat, do not put your opinions in your summary. It just doesn't do anything for your summary. It turns it more into an argumentative piece. Really, when I'm asking you to summarize something, I'm just asking for that main idea of the text. So your summary needs to be 1 or 3 complete sentences. It should cover main ideas and key points, and it should be in your own words. It shouldn't be any less than 1 or 3 sentences, or any less than 1 or more than 3. When we talk about key points and main ideas, we're going to talk about what key points are, but we already kind of know what main ideas are. And make sure that you're not just taking information from the text exactly as it is written and just slapping it into your summary. You need to make sure that you are writing it in your own words when you're summarizing. Lastly, it should not be just a word or two. It needs to be longer than that. So, again, like we've said before, our main idea is what the story is mostly about. Then when we talk about key points, our key points is the information that supports the main idea. So keep in mind that the main idea is a greater concept and the key point is a little more specific. You don't want to go too specific and get into the details, but there is the key point, which is just the information that supports that main idea. So let's read this example text together. A penny for your thoughts? If it's a 1943 copper penny, it could be worth as much as $50,000. In 1943, most pennies were made out of steel since copper was needed for World War II. So, the 1943 copper penny is ultra rare. Another rarity is the 1955 double die penny. These pennies were mistakenly double stamped, so they have overlapping dates and letters. If it's uncirculated, it'd easily fetch $25,000 at an auction. Now that's a pretty penny. So after you read this text, I would ask you to summarize. If you said this text is about pennies, that would be an incorrect response. Why would that be an incorrect response? Because it's too short and it doesn't include key ideas. You need more than just it's about pennies. Another incorrect response to a summary question is the 1943 copper penny is worth a lot of money. Copper was hard to get during the war, so there aren't many of them. The 1955 double die penny is worth a lot too. These pennies were stamped twice on accident. Although this is a lot of really good information, it might be too much unnecessary stuff. We don't need all that information when we're summarizing. Remember, we just want the main gist of what this text was about. And the main idea isn't clear. I don't really know what this text was mostly about. So here is a correct response. This text is about two very rare and valuable pennies, the 1943 copper penny and the 1955 double die penny. The reason that this is the correct response is, first of all, it tells you right in the beginning, this is what the text was about. And then it goes on and tells you the key information, so 1943 copper penny and the 1955 double die penny. Doesn't include any unnecessary information. So it doesn't tell you why they're rare and valuable. You'd actually have to read the text to find out. And it's a complete sentence. You got three things there. It looks great. That is a correct response. Notice it doesn't have to be very long. So remember when we used the gist? Well, you can use that again as you're summarizing, finding the 5 W's and H. So the who is the article or text about. What was it about? Where did it happen? When did it happen? Why did it happen? And how? These aren't things that you're exactly going to include in your gist, but you're going to use some of that information to write your 20-word summary or gist. So go ahead and get onto Google Forms and take your quiz, and then you are good to go. If you are using this on a DVD, then make sure that you take your quiz on the paper form.